It may not have seemed like it at the time, but during your relationship with the narcissist, you're like a frog in a pot of water where the heat has been turned up ever so slowly that you don't realize you're cooking until it's too late. What does this have to do with obsession? Well, if you're in a traumatic relationship and you don't realize it, you're still experiencing trauma, just like the frog is still cooking. So when the relationship is over, you have PTSD, which is post trauma or post traumatic stress syndrome. When you are no longer in that traumatic situation, you begin the process of detoxing, which can be like an alcoholic giving up alcohol or a drug addict giving up the drug. There's an actual physical response for the addict, and there is a physical and psychological response from those detoxing from a toxic relationship. The obsessive stage of your recovery, which is near the very beginning of breaking free from the narcissist in your life, is a PTSD symptom, and it can take a while to detox through this phase. Most of you who are experiencing this may wonder, how long do I have to be stuck in this obsession and rumination? It's horrible. And I know that. I've been there. In my experience, the majority of people recovering from narcissistic abuse will experience PTSD and the obsession and rumination stage of detoxification. When someone is on a detox diet or begin taking some supplement to help them detox, they may experience what is called a Herxheimer reaction, which is a feeling of being sick. They may experience headaches, stomach pain, body aches, fever, chills, sweating, and other symptoms. One might think, if I'm doing something that's so good for me, why do I feel so bad? Well, it's because the poison is leaving the body. And it's similar with detox from a narcissist. You may wonder if letting go of the narcissist in my life is supposed to be such a good thing. Why do I feel so horrible? Some people want to pull the narcissist back in or respond to a Hoover just to have relief from the painful symptoms. But this is the worst thing that you can do because it's like going back into the cook pot. And it requires you to have a certain level of denial in order to go back in. The best thing to do, just like the person experiencing a Herxheimer reaction, is to ride out the discomfort, and it will pass. But let's get real. I've experienced both a Herxheimer reaction while detoxing, and it was unpleasant, but it lasted only a couple days. PTSD after narcissistic abuse lasted months, and it can be difficult to ride it out when you have to face this kind of pain day after day. So, what can you do to make the detox stage of your recovery more bearable? What I'm about to tell you is very important, so you may want to grab a pen and paper and take notes. In order to stay in the narcissistically abusive relationship for as long as you have, you had to lie to yourself, right? You likely told yourself, it's not that bad, or he or she really does love me. They had a rough childhood, or he would never cheat on me, and that amazing person I met in the beginning is the real person. Well, these are all lies, right? None of it's true. What are some of the other lies that you've been telling yourself? Maybe, I'm not good enough, I'm worthless, the new source of supply is better than I am, I don't have what it takes to have a good relationship, I'm difficult, I'm messed up, there's something really wrong with me. These are lies too. And the more you tell yourself these lies, the more you stay in the trauma loop. Because how does it make you feel when you believe these lies about yourself? Pretty horrible, right? I'm a firm believer that the truth will set you free, but it may hurt first. It's often difficult to face the truth, even when you need to believe that you're good and worthy and truly capable of a loving relationship. You were simply with someone who not only wasn't capable of a loving relationship, but was in it for the energy that you provided. The love you gave to that narcissist is a pretty powerful source of energy. You are powerful supply. But another truth pill that you must swallow is that to a narcissist, a battery is a battery. When the flashlight battery dies, he throws them away and puts in a fresh set of batteries. He doesn't sit around grieving the batteries he just threw in the trash, right? So when we lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that we are somehow important to that narcissistic person, we stay hooked, addicted, and energetically remain in that toxic dynamic. Our need to believe that we were important to the narcissist comes from giving the narcissist the power to validate our worth and value. If he or she sees me as good and worthy, that must mean I am. And if he or she sees me as worthless and having no value to them, that must mean I have no worth or value. But the deeper truth is that the narcissist doesn't know you at all. He or she pretended that they did. They knew enough of you to manipulate you, but they didn't know you. A narcissist doesn't have a relationship with you. They have a relationship with the image of themselves they have attempted to get you to validate for them. And you probably did validate their polished image in the beginning. Being a source of supply also means being a source of validation for them. What you need to begin practicing right now is how to be a source of validation for yourself. And this means find all the things that are good about you. Even if it's a challenge to find those things in the beginning and start telling yourself how good, worthy, and wonderful that you are. You don't need outside external feedback regarding your own worth and value. One deep truth you need to start believing about yourself is that nobody knows you like you do. Nobody outside of you can tell you who you are. Only you have the power to tell you who you are. Your identity, how you see yourself, likely took a big hit in your relationship with the narcissist. You may have believed all the good things the narcissist said about you during the love bombing stage, which made you feel seen and valued. But when the story changed, and suddenly the same person started focusing on what he or she perceived to be your faults and your flaws, you believed this too. Because you had already given that person the power to tell you who you are, good or bad. So stop and write down what you believe about yourself now. What do you see as the truth about you? Not what does your best friend or your neighbor or a family member say about you. What do you believe about you? How long have you felt this way? Have you always felt worthless or less than or not enough? When did you start to feel this way about yourself? A narcissist isn't attracted to you because of who you are. They seem to have radar for the fractures in your self-image. They can only control and manipulate you when you are fractured because they use these fractures as a doorway in. We don't have to be perfect and have no fractures in order to repel a narcissist. What we do need is to practice self love, self care, and strong boundaries. We need to give ourselves the care and empathy we've given them and others. Our empathy is our gift. We need to be mindful about who receives this gift. It's important to give that love, care, and empathy to that little child within who might have been wounded early on and came to believe there was something wrong with her, that she wasn't good enough, that she wasn't like the others. If you are recoiling indoors to stay as far away as you can from any triggers, then why not put together a little altar to your inner child? Find a photograph of little you. Find a spot, a small table, or a corner of a desk, and put the photo and a few trinkets that you think the child would like. And then spend time every day talking to that child with as much love and care as you can. Tell her that she's good, that she's kind, that she's loving and worthy. Tell her you love her. She matters to you. She's important to you. And that you will never abandon her again. You promise. When we struggle with feelings of abandonment, it's more likely because we have abandoned ourselves. It isn't that the narcissist disappeared, although your mind may create a story that tells you this is why you are suffering. Your feelings of abandonment, your obsession, your rumination, and your focus on the narcissist is not love. It isn't because you love that person. It's because you've failed to love yourself. We often give love in hope that we will get it back. We give to get. But when we don't get that love we believe that we've given, we feel duped, betrayed, and abandoned. You may have that feeling after all I have done for you and given to you, this is how you treat me. But what have you given to you? Was your focus on the narcissist an attempt to get your needs for love, approval, and attention met from outside of yourself? When were you aware of feeling that hunger for love, for attention, for approval and validation from someone in your life, perhaps your early childhood? You aren't wrong or bad for wanting to be loved, cared about, and approved of. We all need this. But the trap we fall into as adults is believing love is something we get from others. The cold, hard truth is that if you are unable to generate love from within yourself, you will be truly unable to accept it from outside of yourself. You will be a slave to outer validation, seeking after signs of your worthiness from others. When you do this, you may develop a dependency on others and even feel needy. Even if you're strong and you're an independent person who's quite capable, there may be a silent force beneath the surface of your awareness that is giving your power to others to validate how amazing you are. And you probably really are amazing. But can you source that feeling of amazement from within? Can you look into the mirror every day and say, "Hello, beautiful. Do you know how wonderful you are?" If you could do this and really develop a strong, protective, internal parent who loves you fiercely, you will be the narcissist's worst nightmare. You may already be. I know a lot of narcissists avoid me like the plague, not only because I see through their facade, but because they have no foot in. I'm no longer willing to be a battery source. My boundaries are strong, and my self-love is equally as strong. Nobody has the power to make me feel small. Not anymore. But there are times the child within does feel small or blamed or shamed, and that's where Mama Bear comes to the rescue. I care about that child within. She's gold to me. I know better than anyone what she has gone through, and I have a deep admiration for her strength and her ability to persevere in the face of the worst kind of neglect and abuse. There was a time I shoved her into the shadows and had nothing to do with her, and that was the most painful time of my life. It wasn't until after my first conscious experience with narcissistic abuse did I realize what I had done. For me, the deepest shadow work was to pull my inner child from the darkness into the light and begin to love her for the first time ever. I learned to speak kindly to her, to allow her the mistakes of spilling her juice or breaking the glass or even getting angry. I apologized to her for abandoning her. I cried with her and for her, and I promised I would be there for her from here on out. This is self-love, to care deeply for that child aspect of you who believed she suffered because she was bad, or that people were mean to her because there was something wrong with her. And these are all lies of the human condition. There's nothing wrong with you. With obsession, it's important to understand that all your circuits are externally focused. You're still looking for something from out there. You're still craving attention and validation from the narcissist. There's a part of you that still believes the fairy tale. There's a part of you that still believes your replacement got the better deal. Instead of seeing yourself as moving forward, you might see yourself as being left behind. But you really are ahead because you have information now that the new source of supply doesn't yet have, but will in the future. Because the narcissist is a narcissist and incapable of genuine love or empathy. And the one place this shows up the loudest is in our personal relationships. Your attention and energy needs to be rerouted, refocused back on you and your life. And every time you find your attention straying, bring it back to you, to how you are feeling. How you feel right now is what you've been likely avoiding by staying in this toxic dynamic. So bring your attention back to your feelings. If you feel worthless and unloved, focus on that for a moment. Ask if it's really true, and how could it be? This is an opportunity to heal beyond anywhere you have gone in the past. You have the opportunity for rebirth, for releasing old toxic patterns that no longer serve who you are becoming. You need to keep reminding yourself this is not about the narcissist, it's about you. You are the star of the show. You are the one that matters. You are the important person here, and you need to treat yourself with the love and the kindness that you deserve. Sit with your pain, your fear, your anxiety, your loneliness, and whatever you're experiencing, and tell yourself you are okay. You will get through this and come out better than ever. Trust that you are the key to your recovery. The narcissist was merely the catalyst that brought what needs to be healed to the surface of your awareness. And when you heal this, you're no longer good food for the narcissist. That's a good thing. When you focus your attention back on you, you are building that muscle, and it becomes a new habit to focus on you instead of them. It always takes time to detox and build a new habit, but slow and steady wins the race, and you will get there. If this message speaks to you, stay with me here on the FlameWalker Podcast, where each episode is created to help you to understand the deeper energetic patterns behind narcissistic abuse so that you can reclaim your power and return to yourself. Follow along, and together we'll walk through the fire, transforming pain into power. I want to thank you for being here with me, and I will see you in the next podcast.